Hello, everyone. This is Coding Colored Glasses, the podcast where I teach you how to level up your coding journey by breaking down jargon, tech topics, and inspiring you to be your best coding self. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I have another guest here to tell you all about her tech story. I have Ciara Cade.
Hi
Hi
everybody, my name
everybody,
is
my name is
Ciara.
Ciara.
I am
I am
the
the leader of the
technical. I'm
technical,
also
so I'm
a
also
tech
here
in the
in the
University of
University of
Michigan.
Michigan.
I'm currently
I'm
at an
currently at an
internship
internship
as a
as
French
a French and
internet Uber,
Uber,
and
and
I'm
I'm
super happy to
super
be
happy to
here.
be here.
Yes, and we're so excited to have you too, Ciara. So let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about how you got into tech, what inspired you to start your tech journey, and what are
Yeah, so
the
basically what
tech
happened was when I was
subcultures you're
little,
really
I always
interested
wanted
in.
to get really into like technology and stuff like that. I was a huge gamer. And growing up I loved playing games. Like it would get so out of control. Specifically Minecraft. Minecraft is a pretty sandboxy game, so I used to play that like all the time. This migrated into eventually getting my own laptop. When I got my laptop, the first thing I downloaded was Minecraft, and I was up playing Minecraft all the time. And eventually, I'm like, Minecraft is a program that runs on my computer, but like, how does it work? Like, how does like Minecraft work? And this is what kind of caused me to look into the files. Like I said, super sandboxy, so I was able to look at all the files and stuff, and eventually I was able to find out about like these specific words and stuff that allows you to do things. And eventually down the line, I would figure out that that's called code. But for the time being, I'm like, I know that this is probably controlling what the skeleton does, so I'm just gonna click something and see what happens. And I would change like the files for the game, and that would enable me to like basically like play like modded versions of the game, especially with like other people mods and stuff like that. And I just fell in love with it. And the gaming journey just kind of went up all the way until I wanted to like build my own computer. And the process of building my own computer was literally so fun, so enjoyable. I'm like, I could do this for like the rest of my life. And that eventually led me to major in computer science in college. And then once I arrived at college, I realized that, oh, computer science is actually like a really big subject. So, yeah, that's pretty much my little organic story into tech.
Yes, and I'm sure a lot of people can definitely relate to like finding a game that they really like. Like for me, it's The Sims. I really love The Sims and like
Love,
modding the different games and finding different pieces to put in the games. So I really love that you included that about your story. So let's get into your college journey. So when you went into computer science in college, what was the subculture that you found the most interesting? Or did it take you a while to kind of find your like niche?
I'll say it was pretty easy for me to find my niche because I had a background knowledge as like a gamer of what kind of like kinds of people was going into this. I knew that people mostly attracted to computer science probably were gamers because I mean most of us were pretty in depth with technology anyway since kids. So it's like finding my niche in computer science or just like a specific subgroup of people was super easy. I was already pretty much knowledgeable about like simple information and stuff like that. And concepts in computer science, so it was really easy to like fit in. I'd say culturally. Um, as far as like academically and stuff like that, you were like around people who were super smart and had been coding for years already. So I learned to kind of blend myself in by just like picking up new skills, picking up new hobbies, picking up new things that allowed me to kind of like advance. But other than that, I don't think I really had much of a choice really. Computer science is super, 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 super immersive. You have to like once you like put a foot in, you're automatically just like dipped in.
Yeah, that's definitely how I feel about computer science too. Once you've like already started, you fall into the pool. It's too late for you. But
Right.
yeah, I definitely wanted to ask like more about like what started like when you were coding in your coding journey before you went to college. Had you had prior experience coding beyond Minecraft? Were like you coding like websites or making your own small games, or were you just like, oh, I did this when I was a gamer. I'm primarily a gamer. I like knowing games and like how they work, and I like to mod games, so I'm just gonna major in college.
I think that was basically my I think you're correct on that. When I initially went into college, I only carried competitive programming experience, which is literally just like typing C++ very, very fast. And I didn't even know that like I didn't even know about data structures really at a high level yet or algorithms at a high level. I just knew that, um basically basic if statements and stuff like that. As far as like Java, because that's what Minecraft was built in, um, it was very easy to read. So coding then kind of looked like me just erasing like something and then like putting in a different value or just manipulating the functions to work in a specific way.
Yeah, yeah. That definitely makes a lot of sense. That's how a lot of people jump into computer science. Some people go in blind turkey. Of course, you weren't completely blind turkey. You had some prior experience. That's definitely really good. So, jumping right into your college journey,
Right.
how was the tech experience for you specifically, being a black individual? Like when you went to college, how did you feel? Do you feel like you were treated any such a way, or how do you feel like the tech community received you?
That's such a great question. I think that I never felt like left out or anything because like 9 times out of 10, I already knew what everyone was talking about. It was more so people kind of like getting a first glance at me and going like, oh, that's probably I don't want that to be my project partner. I don't know if she knows what she's doing. And then as soon as I start speaking, people go, wait, OMG, she does know what she's talking about. I want to partner with her because she obviously is knowledgeable. But I never really felt so like outsidish or like an outsider against the subject. I don't really consider my identity a lot in the decisions I make because I know that automatically I am always probably the odd one out. You don't see a lot of black women gaming, other than Sims, I'll say. You don't see a lot of black women gaming. You don't see a lot of black women like going into computer science in total. Nowadays things have changed, but back then it was very, I'd say, rare to see like black individuals who or black women who wanted to like pursue computer science. So like I really didn't think about it because my answer was already there. Um but I'm sure that like basically, I guess what kind of allowed me to really like overcome that was the fact that I was already pretty much there with the information and stuff like that. If I had to learn everything from scratch, it probably would have been a little bit different, but I'd say the advantage would definitely be the fact that I was a gamer. I was a huge nerd when it comes to computer science, and I was able to grab stuff or understand stuff very quickly because of my knowledge of computers, how they work, and games and how they work as well.
Yeah, and I totally, resonate with the statement. You don't see a lot of black women in tech. You don't see a lot of black women who game in general or like just playing games on the internet that aren't Sims or like role play related. So I definitely like resonate with that statement. So let's go back to like the fact that you said you were like a nerd. In school, did you feel like you were kind of like to yourself and just kind of focus on your own goals, which is probably what allowed you to move on to college and not really worry about your identity so much? Because I know for me, like my identity is like such a big part of like who I am and like my personality that it can kind of get in the way of some of the things I might be experiencing or want to do.
Right. I'd say in high school I was a pretty focused kid. I was like one of those people that could blend into any friend group, like any friend group. Like I was friends with literally everyone. Or I was known by basically everyone. Like I could do anything. I was very talkative. I was quiet. I was everything. But one thing I for sure know I was focused on my goals. I was super passionate about what I wanted to do. Super passionate about everything that I wanted to experience. I was president of like 4 clubs, so it was really easy for me to kind of like put myself in a position, I guess, of just success and leadership. And for myself in my life, that meant like focusing on my goals very critically. I was very hardcore with how I did things, and people always told me like, "Sierra, I'm so proud of you," and I would be like, I'm so glad you're proud of me, but there's so much more coming." You know what I'm saying? I was totally like super, super duper duper duper, like just nerdy about my future, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Sense, yeah. Yeah, I totally resonate with that. I'm the same way. I'm just like laser vision, tunnel vision. I only got one thing on the prize, eye on the prize. But yeah, so let's get into some of the things that you're really nerdy and passionate about. I know that you have an internship at Capital One Bank, so would you want to like explain like what it was like going through that internship process and your process of going through and getting these internships, especially since you're very focused and, eye on the prize type of person?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I got reached out for the Capital One internship, I actually thought it was a scam at first, but what convinced me to really apply for it was just the fact that I clicked the link finally, and it took me to like the company website. I ended up winning a hackathon, and that hackathon gained me the internship offer. And just like my overall performance in the summit in total, and I just kind of snagged that out the blue. Like I tell people all the time, like hackathons are the way to go, but that's a separate conversation. But walked into sophomore year having an internship under my belt, and that was like so insane for people. To be in like sophomore level classes, and I'm sitting there like, oh well, I already have an internship at Capital One. They're like, how did you get that? You know what I'm saying? Um, as far as getting my internship at Uber, it was super last minute. People reached out to me literally 2 months ago, like, "Hey, can you apply for our internship?" I'm like, "Yeah," and the recruiter sent me an email like, "You have to apply like today, like right now." And I'm like, "Oh my god, okay." So I applied for the internship, and I was able to basically interview super quickly and then get it that way. The interviews were pretty good. It was the first time I landed an interview all the way down to employment, so that was pretty fun to me. And then I think for Capital One, yeah, it was by hackathon. So I just won the hackathon. I took one behavioral where they basically just guided me to just say like um well-rounded questions using the STAR method. And then after that I was able to get an internship offer. And then for my internship experience at Capital One was actually very beautiful. I was in DC, McLean area, or McLean, Virginia area, and I was able to basically work with their cloud and productivity team uh, to build like just a simple API that made requests to a database for their VPC and Amazon subnets and stuff like that, something with AWS. It was a really great experience learning how it is to be a software engineer. A lot of people think it's code, code, code. No, it's also planning, sprinting, management. It's a lot going on there. So I learned a lot about what it means to make something up from scratch. Even on top of that, working at Uber now, I'm learning so much about the development process and what it takes to actually code a cohesive product. And I think that that makes a difference to me as a college student because I get to go back to school and actually know how to plan something out from scratch, especially uh, leading a project building community. I have to learn how to relay this information perfectly. And the skills that I learned at my internship allows me to like learn how to speak, learn how to express my ideas, learn how to even correct my own speech sometimes, and making sure that I'm able to perfectly elaborate how I'm thinking.
Yeah, and those skills are definitely represented here. We could hear you loud and clear. These are like so clear, perfect public speaking skills. But what are some personality traits that you think kind of translated over from the time that you applied to your internship into your internship?
I'd say probably some personality traits that really transferred over to my internship would be my ability to kind of make everyone know or let everyone know exactly what I'm thinking. For example, when I first met up with my supervisor, I told him I was like, one of the goals this semester, not semester, my internship program is I want to learn how to be, or I want to learn how to basically software engineer. And with learning how to software engineer, I meant that like I wanted to learn like what it means to actually be a software engineer on the team working on a product that influences millions of people. And he got that perfectly. Honestly, I think that one of the main things that helps me like kind of like achieve that goal of becoming a good software engineer is literally psychology. Don't approach things always thinking you know everything. That's one thing I'm super bad at doing. But I think one of the traits that carried over is definitely working on new skills. So I'm working on being like humble about my ideas, accepting new ideas, being open for improvement and stuff like that. Because when you accept people's improvements, especially if they're skilled, if they have the title, you're making a world of a difference in your work. Whether you like it or not, honestly. I think another trait that probably would carry over is my ability to just like say like well-rounded answers. I don't think people enough know how good speaking is when you're trying to like say what you think. And I don't really think in words, so it's really hard for me to like actually say out loud what I'm thinking. And I think probably another very useful skill would probably be like problem solving. The specific way that I problem solve is very, very, very structured. And that totally did carry over because I'm using it almost every single day.
Yeah, would you want to dive more into like how you problem solve specifically? A lot of people have different methods. Some people it's visualization, some people it's like they gotta talk it out, some people they gotta write it down, draw it out. how do you problem solve, like specifically when it comes to
Right.
coding?
Yeah, I think that problem solving for me starts with basically understanding what is my problem. You can't solve the problem if you don't know what the problem is. So I think the first step is identifying exactly what's going on wrong. So, for example, um, I think today I was having some build dependency issues, and I did not know exactly like what I was looking at. So I decided to figure out, what is the problem, and I searched build executable files, or the output, the logs, to see, what exactly was going on wrong, and I was able to identify the problem. And this goes into basically a stair step level of who has the answer. I love searching up the answer first. Super cool, always right, and then using ChatGPT when I need extra help, and then going to my mentor. And so I was able to just go like, okay, I found the issue. Now let's see how I can solve this. I searched up the, code base and stuff like that, seeing what other examples look like. I didn't get it there. Okay, well, I'm gonna take it up a little bit, ask ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT doesn't know what's going on. I'm gonna bring it up to my mentor's attention, and we were able to solve the issue. So it's basically just a stair step level of doing it yourself all the way into actually consulting a professional.
Yeah, and a lot of people will definitely resonate with that too. Like just taking it one step at a time. Who has the answer? I definitely love that like method. Some people like think that they have to reinvent the wheel in order to like solve a problem, and when that's not necessarily the case, there's hundreds of ways to skin a cat. And sometimes it can be
Right.
on ChatGPT, and sometimes it can be with your mentor. So, can you talk to us more about your mentorship or your mentoring experience? Because you mentioned before previously that you have like a little bit of trouble when it comes to like just being humble and accepting people's feedback or thinking that you know everything. I know that mentorship can be definitely like a humbling experience when you have somebody who's a little bit older than you telling you, okay, well, this is, if you want to get to this place, you have to do this thing. So really, like, if you'd like to like talk more about that or speak on like what the experience has been for you.
Yeah, I think the mentorship experience for me so far has been very, 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 very guiding. And what I mean by that is I love the way that I'm able to kind of like achieve that first goal of I want to learn how to be a software engineer. And being a software engineer is literally not just coding, and I'm learning that super, super, super a lot here. And this kind of brings back my answer of like that's why talking and speaking and learning to elaborate how you think is so important. Because right now my mentor is teaching me on how like a development process goes before you even touch code. And so far, we've had to just scrap our entire project. We've had to continuously review our project. We've had to continuously seek answers for questions we don't know. And this is all part of making sure that our foundation's covered. So I'd say right now I'm having a pretty like guiding experience through everything. Even if I feel like I did something stupid, I always say like, "Oh my god, I just had like an intern moment." And my mentor, he's very reassuring that I'm not making the wrong issues. It's just guiding me towards the right steps. You can fall down, but if you don't pick yourself back up, then you're never gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really learning just how to just keep applying myself, learn new things, absorb new material, etc., etc.
Yeah, and it's always about picking yourself back up because if you're on the floor, you can always get up. But if you lay on the
Right.
floor, you're gonna lay and starve. So yeah, that's definitely very insightful that it being a guiding journey and that like some people really take like mentorships as like, oh, it was this for me or it was really positive and this and that. And it's definitely reassuring to hear that like that you're having a experience that's really helpful for you. So let's go back to kind of like your internship journey. So what do you think you're really like getting out of your internships, or what did you get out of your internships other than like the stamp of approval that I got a Capital One internship or I got an Uber internship?
Yeah. So just touching back on basically like the how to be a software engineer thing, I totally think I am getting like so many pivotal points of perfection out of my internships. Like I generally do think they allow me to be like better at what I do purely because I'm actually working on real applications, real materials, real systems, real services that do impact a lot of people. And this comes with risk management, making sure that you're making the best choices. following an actual pattern of, what the heck is going on to, okay, I got this down. I know what to do. I'm learning literally like what I want to do. And that's literally just helping people building systems and services and micro services and APIs and all that just to help people. And I'm learning how to apply stuff that's so big. Application is so big to me because that's how I learn. I can learn as much as I want, but if I'm not actually applying the material, then I'm not going to really retain that information well. And application is something that's allowing me to really understand what I'm doing as well, in terms of code and projects and building APIs, building a microservice like I am now. Um, and it looks good for my resume. I can't mention that enough. Like it looks so great. And I'm also getting like networking opportunities here. I've been so fortunate to meet some incredible people in my internship already. People who have done such amazing things, and I'm able to actually like talk to them about majoring in computer science, being a software engineer at Uber, being able to actually like, like make some income over the summer, stuff like that. But I'd say yeah, that's totally what I'm getting. Out of my internship this summer.
Yeah, and so just a like touch base on that. So what does software engineering mean to you? Because you talked about a lot about, well, I'm learning how to be a software engineer in these internships and this is what I'm learning. What does that mean to you? Like, does it mean not just only coding, but the developmental process, the end product, the application process?
I think what it means to me is basically being able to build something, right? It's like building a house. I feel like I'd imagine that if I built a house, I'd be very accomplished about it. I made something that helps people. I made something that helps me. Um, and I think being a software engineer means that not only am I one step closer to my dream of becoming a professional Minecraft YouTuber, but I literally get to be in control of monumental systems that are so pivotal to human communication development, of movement, transport, financials, stuff like that. I get to be a part of something super big. And not only that, I actually get to just sit there and enjoy life while doing it. How cool is that?
Yeah, that is so cool. And obviously, that's what I want to do as well. I definitely want to be having a say at the table, especially when it comes to the fact that there's not many Black women. I want to have, we all need representation, and I'd love to be like a representative at that table to make sure like our voices get heard. And when it comes to representation, what does that mean to you? Like when if you're like the only Black woman on the team, or maybe if you're on a team of Black women who are creating these systems to make sure that everybody's voice gets heard, or including that, representation in your projects.
I think what representation means to me, honestly, I'm always pretty much the only Black woman in the room sometimes. Like I said, nowadays has started to change. But as for the most part, I've always been like the only Black woman in the room. And that just means I set the standard. Like I do not really care about any negative connotation that comes with that. I'm Black and I'm proud and I'm so happy to be here. And I'm here to make a difference. Like I don't really care for like any derogatory talk or something. The casual, oh you're just here because DEI. Like I don't care. I really don't feed into any of that. Representation means to me that like I can literally just set the standard. And so many Black women, even like people who are parents, have DM'd me, messaged me, all that stuff of telling me you are such a role model to my daughter who's majoring in computer science and stuff like that. And being able to be that person on LinkedIn that Black women get to look up to is so amazing. Like, wow, that's so cool. But it's like, in terms of like, who did I look up to? I didn't really have anybody to look up to, who looked like me because there was nobody. There's no famous software engineer YouTubers right now who's like Black, or a woman. So it's like, oh geez, like where did that come in there for me? And although I felt like I never needed it, I got to actually experience that during the Bloomberg Tech Lab that I recently did. Seeing Black women who were software engineers for like the first time in person in front of my face, all talking about their experience is so insane. Like I remember sitting there like, oh my god, like wow, that is so cool. I didn't really like when you don't see yourself very often, it's very like chilling to finally see yourself get represented, you know?
Yeah, that culture shock can definitely be can definitely feel like a weight off your chest at first. Like, and can definitely at first can be like come as a shock, like, whoa, there is so many of me right now. But like the weight kind of gets lifted, you kind of feel the relief. It's just like, ah, we're all in this together, guys. You know, I definitely
Right.
love that. Like, yeah, I definitely love that about your story and like just feeling like I set the standard, like I am in control of what I want people to accept about me. And when it comes to setting the standard, what is your standard?
I'd say being fearless, being respectful, being kind, strong, being very communicative, being strong-minded, strong-willed, strong everything, being like very generous. I love being generous about my tech resources. That's like pivotal. Um, and I say being very diligent. How about that? I know what I want and I'm gonna get it. Like strong-minded. Come on.
Yes, definitely that strong mindset, strong black women. We don't always have to be strong, but when we do have to be strong, we gonna be strong. Period. But yeah, that's definitely really influential to
That's
hear.
great.
Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to ask you like a little bit about like being like a tech role model. Like, how do you feel about like being like this, paradigm of what black women or young black girls would aspire to be if they also wanted to be like a software engineer or wanted to be a Minecraft YouTuber?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think wait, I'm sorry. Could you ask that question again? I didn't catch
Didn't
that
catch
last
that
part.
last part. It's okay. So I said like how do you feel about like being like a role model or like a paradigm to young black girls and young black women? Like if they wanted to be a software engineer or wanted to be like a Minecraft YouTuber.
I feel a little perplexed. I'm gonna be so honest. I never thought that I'd be the person that people look up to. I mean, if I were someone else, I'd probably look up to me too. But like it's very like so fulfilling because it's just like people message me all the time like oh my god like you're so amazing. I'm also pursuing CS and I'm like yes girl you go and do it. If you have a supporter, it's me. If you literally have a supporter, it's me. Like don't ever feel like I don't think people should have to feel like that they can't look up to people. I love I even look up to people who are currently in positions that I want to be in. And I'm like, I want to be as good as you, as fly as you. I'm trying to be as great as you are. And for people that come up to me and say, Ciara, I want your help and I want to be what you are now. And I'm like, girl, I'm still an undergrad. What are you talking about? But these people are so smart and talented and I feel so fulfilled to be looked up by such smart, talented, diligent, beautiful black women, even people who are not black women. Like I get so many messages a day explaining how pivotal my resources have been to people and stuff like that. And I am just so glad to like be that person for people. It does
It
get a
does
little
get a
bit
little bit
overwhelming
overwhelmed.
because
Yeah,
like
because like
I'm always
I'm
at
always
post. I just feel like I saw your post. I see your post all the time, and I'm like, oh, I'm trying to eat y'all.
yeah, in being a role model and being in that like space of like kind of having people's eyes on you, like watching like what you do and like looking to you for inspiration, that can definitely be a little bit like, oh, okay, well, I'm just a regular person just like y'all. I'm doing the same thing just like y'all. I'm trying to make it
Right.
just like y'all. I definitely understand that. But like it's in that same breath that being a motivator or being like being a role model in general or being somebody that people look up to can be a motivator, and I know that could definitely like motivate a lot of people's journey. So does being a role model motivate you, and is there anything else that like motivates you and pushes you even more than your desire to get like where you're trying to go?
I say being a role model totally does motivate me because I have a lot of people looking at me. If I'm not on LinkedIn or any social media for a long time, people do notice, people will reach out. Even now, I have my top mate tabs open, ready to answer people's questions. And so it's like, I I feel like I never sleep, but it's for the best, honestly. I still take care of my health. But I think that one thing that influences my habits to always strive even further is I can't really live a mediocre life. I've done so many things in my life. I've been subject to so many things in my life. there is so many things going on around me that I refuse to be a part of, and I want to make the best out of my life so that people who are probably from Detroit, people who are Black women, even Black in total, know that life doesn't have to be what everyone else is doing. I'd hate to just waste such great talent on nothing, and that's what pushes me forward. There's a great quote that says, procrastination is it costs the life that you could have lived. And I live that truly.
Yeah, and I definitely resonate with that. Like, just feeling like there is so much more in the world than what is given to me, and I can do more with what I have, even though other people around me might not be going to get it. I can go get it. That has like nothing to do with me. I can go get what I need to go get, you know? So what resources do you think like helped you along your way, and what avenues did you have to like forge for yourself?
Um, totally the whole development process between like just actually like learning how to navigate computer science, that was so tough. It actually was not tough. I'm gonna be real. I totally did just lie there. It was never tough because I always knew what to look for. And I don't know how I always knew what to look for. It's just I actually read the material. And we're actually going through this on my team for the tech cadets. We're realizing this. A lot of people, I don't think a lot of people are succeeding in computer science because they simply do not read. They don't search. They don't really follow up. I was always the person that searched everything down to the bone. If I needed to learn data structure algorithms and I didn't take my class yet, I grinded YouTube videos, literally like 10 hours straight. And like I think that literally you have to take that extra step when it comes to like um finding something, and I was just always that person that took that extra step, you know what I'm saying? Um, as far as like navigating it and like just overall like jumping over hurdles, I always like I don't know, I just always like made the hurdles smaller. I made it shorter. I don't need to learn about all this stuff because I learned it on YouTube. I learned it searching up something. I networked. I wasn't afraid to open my mouth. I always signed up for everything, reached out to anybody, asked for the hookup, like literally straight off the bat. So I you have to maintain a level of fearlessness if you want to actually get to where you're going. And I'm learning that so hard these past couple of months to just learn how to open my mouth because closed mouths don't get fed. So yeah,
No, exactly. Closed mouths do not get fed, and if you don't open your mouth and reach out, you will not get anything. You
not
know,
gonna get fed at
and
all, honestly.
yeah, and I definitely agree with what you said. Like, that's so true. What do you think is like the most like common mistake other than like not reading and not like searching? What other mistakes do you think like computer science majors or undergrads make when they're coding?
Oh, I'm
Oh, I'm
sorry. You
sorry.
said
You said
what was that last part?
what like it's just like what mistakes do you think people in computer science make? Just like in general, even if like like if they're starting computer science, why do you think they give up?
I think people give up with computer science because everything is everywhere. Computer science is not linear in terms of career, right? People go into computer science thinking that their school's going to teach them everything, right? So you go into school and you're getting taught everything, and you like you look beside you, and it's someone creating a whole program on a level that you didn't even get taught about yet. So you're sitting there like, what the heck? And then they land in internships. They're doing all these things because you wanted to stick to one resource at school, right? If I stuck to my school's curriculum, I wouldn't be getting an internship until like now, I think, or maybe even next semester. So um, literally, I think that's why people give up. You have to learn how to go out there and take your 5, 6 resources and read them front to cover, back to back, website to website, do the whole thing, and then move on to the next thing. People get overwhelmed with how much resources there's out there. People get overwhelmed with the planning. People get overwhelmed with the lead coding, the preparation that comes with landing internships, even labs and stuff like that. And when you're dealing with a popular major that's super popular with this whole AI boom that's going on, you will get left behind if you're not quick enough. So you have to learn to be like on top of it.
Yeah, and we can definitely see that you're on top of it. You got it down. So like really like tell us about like what helped you get it down and like having that confidence to just be like, well, I got this. I'm if you're not gonna teach it to me, I'm gonna learn it myself.
Right. Right. I think what really helped me out there is literally just learning how to focus. That's so big for me. Focus, focus, focus. I used to spend hours in front of my computer, literally searching stuff. I spent summers doing projects. I've spent weekends doing code. I've done so many personal projects, I think, so far. That has allowed me to literally experience so many different spectrums of comp sci and software engineering in total. Um, you have to learn how to spend long lengths of time focusing on one subject at a time and not to overload your plate with information. Like I said, a lot of people get overwhelmed with how much information there is out there on the complexity of computer science and pursuing software engineering that they don't realize that you have to really work with each thing one at a time, or maybe like even five at a time at this rate. You have to learn how to network. You have to learn how to put your foot out there. And I maintain this on a daily basis. I have three forms of tracking that help plan my day, my week, my month, and it allows me to do everything at a high level. So I feel like people need to, if you're pursuing computer science, you have to do everything at a very high level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally get it. Like you just gotta be you gotta stay on top of your things. So let's get into a couple cute personal questions. What do you use to plan your day and to stay on top of things? Like you mentioned having like three different systems. What do you use?
Yeah. So for the day to day, it's totally my pink planner that I ordered off Amazon. This is where I chart all my to dos for the day, and keep up with all everything that didn't happen yesterday. My Google Calendar is by the time and schedule, so that's also a day by day thing, but it's time based. So this is where I look at to see if I have any meetings coming up, if something's occurring while I'm at work, if I need to be at bed at a certain time. Having ADHD is kind of like a blessing and a curse at the same time. You get time blindness almost, so it's good to have something there for me to imagine like what my day is gonna look like. And then I have something called like it's a Notion template with the in like an in bucket system where basically I have like 15 buckets which represent every aspect of my life. And every week I literally just update all the buckets with stuff, to dos and stuff like that. And so it looks like I'm a club president, I'm a software engineer, I'm a this, I'm a that, and each week I just go by and okay, I did this already, did this already, did this. So it allows me to plan not only on a daily basis but like a weekly basis.
That's so efficient. I wish I could even keep track of like three different schedules. I could only have one where everything is right there and I can just see it with my eyes, or else I get too confused and like too many screens, too many tabs. But yeah, how do you stay like feeling fly and looking good when you're like going through all these like have to do this, I have to do that, I'm running to do this, I'm running to do that.
Sometimes I slip through the cracks, sometimes it just catches me up a little bit. Like right now I'm feeling super duper tired, but I have to go to the gym and I have stuff to do. Um, Another thing would probably be like looking good makes me feel good. I love beauty and I love how it makes me feel. I just love just kind of like absorbing my femininity, especially in the workplace where there's like barely any. So it's like I love dressing up. I love just putting on a show when it comes to just like makeup, styles and stuff like that. It makes everything so much better. You know what I'm saying? Like your world just is so much brighter when you look, on point.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that when it comes to school. I'm there to look good. I'm not there for y'all. I'm there to look at
Right.
my fits in the morning and things like that. And I definitely feel like when you put on outfits and like have makeup and stuff like that, it definitely gives you like a different like aura. It's almost like stepping into a character like, okay, I'm going to school and I look like this right now and this is like the person I'm trying to embody. Is it or do you have like the same type of like way like when you go to like an internship versus when you're going to school or when you're going to your job?
When I think of like embodiment and stuff like that, I don't really think. I guess my role model here would probably be Beyonce. That's who I think about when I'm trying to like really get in the zone. Beyonce is a super hard worker. She is very, very, very diligent. I always think about her and like when I'm in the workplace, I'm like, Beyonce was a software engineer. She do the mess out of this. So it's like I always think about her and all the stuff that she says, all her documentaries about like keep going, reaching new heights and stuff like that. And I've been like in a period of change lately when it comes to like all the accomplishments that I've done so far and reaching this whole new level, especially taking on like a business and stuff like that. Of accomplishment. And I always think back to Beyonce and stuff she says about like learning how to like tunnel vision to your goals and then that's it. So I say when it comes to like embodiment, yeah, totally her. She's like the go figure and it allows me to work in a walk into the workplace like I own the place basically.
And Beyonce's always looking fly too. Look at that. Connections. But thank you so much, Ciara, for coming on our podcast today. I really enjoyed this talk with you, talking all about like how you got your internships, how you stay like level headed, what you feel about like representation and being a Black woman in tech. I am so happy you had the time to talk with me today. And I am so happy and I'm going to wish you all the best on your future endeavors, on your business,
Thank
on
you.
internships and graduating and, graduating soon, and things like that. But do you have any more questions before we head out?
I do not, but thank you so much for interviewing me. This has been such a pleasant experience so far.
Thank you, obviously. If you guys like that podcast, make sure that you go down and you hit the little follow, that you hit the heart, that you make sure you share this with your friends so they can level up their tech journey too, you guys. And that's all from Coding Colored Glasses. Lynn signing out.